Michael Nagy here with Jiggy Jag TV and DiscoveringBands.com. And for everyone watching, if you share this video on my channel and help support the awesome bands I feature. And today I'm here with NuclearSun. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Good, good. It's good to have you.
Thanks.
I want to start off and say I really like the band name. And how did that come to be?
Oh, that's I picked that name when I was 9 years old. I have always had pretty bad ADHD, and I had a piano teacher who was struggling to keep me focused, and she had this big ass keyboard, and her little deal with me was if I paid attention for like 50 minutes, then I got the last 10 minutes of the lesson to just screw around on the keyboard. And there was this preset on the keyboard called NuclearSun that was just like you had to hold down the key for a really long time, and it just built up this big swell of sound, and then there was this huge explosion. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And it just sort of stuck with me as like the moment I realized my musical tastes were not traditional or classical.
Yeah. And what got you into the whole industrial, harsh electronic music?
I mean, my musical taste sort of evolved. I mean, just that way I started, like most people, listening to stuff my parents listened to. They're big hippies, just a lot of Beatles and Mamas and the Papas and Beach Boys and that kind of stuff. So I always kind of liked the guitar sound, but then in the early 90s, Eurodance exploded with like Ace of Base and 2 Unlimited and stuff. And from there I got into grunge and punk rock and then nu metal as we got closer to the 2000s. And at some point I started looking for more music that sort of combined the electronics and the guitars. And as soon as I started finding artists that did that, I just knew that was what I wanted to do.
Yeah, I like your sound a lot, and I like what you're doing with the remixes and covers. Start off by telling us about the Quarantine remix album.
I like collecting stems that I find. I worked as a studio engineer when I was going to school recently, and I like to just collect stems and throw them on the big-ass mixing board in there and, you know, fade tracks in and out and isolate different parts. So I started collecting a lot of them, and then I had this big collection on a drive, and I'm sitting around during quarantine, and I just started getting these ideas like, how can I make this music like industrial metal? And it started, I think the first track I did was the Van Halen one, because Jesse, the Conformco drummer, and I had this running joke that Panama was the best industrial metal song ever written, because that chorus is just like a thumping drum and this repeating guitar riff. It's very KMFDM, so it's kind of a joke we had. But then I was like, what if I made it actually industrial metal? And just from there it sort of spiraled down into like, what if I made Nickelback industrial metal? And I don't know that I would have ever spent the time or energy on that crap if it wasn't for quarantine. But it was a good outlet for my time, keep me creating.
Yeah, it's good to hear some positive and good things come out of the quarantine. And I see it's titled Volume 1. Does that mean there might be a Volume 2?
I've gotten a lot of requests to do more. I have some works in progress sitting around. I really like just taking existing songs. There's a lot of songs out there that aren't industrial rock or metal that I like. And I always kind of want to see, like, what if we just cranked up the guitars and the drums and put a synth to it or something. It's definitely something I'd like to do again.
Yeah, it's really cool when you hear classic songs with a different touch to it, like you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
And your latest album, tell us about that, with the different covers you chose to do.
Oh, I came up with the idea for that when I was a teenager, like when I was 15. with that couldn't have said it better title, and I just started writing a list of songs that I wanted to cover. I lost that list a long time ago, but I remembered some of them, and of course, some of those songs are more recent. But I always knew I wanted to do it, and back then when I came up with the idea, it was back in the days of albums all the time, so I thought it was going to be a big album rather than a bunch of shorter releases. But I just figured it was the time to try it out. And I wanted this first one to be songs by people who were heavier influences, and especially people who mentored me while I was learning how to do this. Sean Payne and J.P. Anderson and Chris Savanek. So I wanted to get tracks by them in there for sure. And then the Nine Inch Nails cover I did for fun when I want to say 2018 or 2019 when Buck Cherry put out a Head Like a Hole cover, and it made me cringe to death. And I just wanted to, I was like, you know, I could do this better. I don't normally touch Nine Inch Nails stuff because it's way up here and I'm way down here, but I was like, you know, if Buck Cherry can butcher this, then I should take a shot.
That's awesome. And now, what are you currently working on right now?
I'm currently putting off any more NuclearSun stuff for a little while. I've got a lot of tracks sort of ready for the next release. They need some tweaking and stuff, but I'm largely focusing on, like, I've got some personal projects that don't really fit into any label that I'm just releasing under my own name. I've always wanted to do a tribute album to a lot of the video game music that inspired me. Like really sort of, not sort of the traditional like Zelda or Mario theme songs, but I've got, it's a tribute to a group of guys who went by Straylight Productions. They did music for weird PC games like Jazz Jackrabbit and Unreal, Deus Ex, and Unreal Tournament and stuff. So I've got a bunch of tracks from that old mod tracker sort of era of music that I'm modernizing. That's been where most of my creative outlet has been going. Other than that, I've been working on starting my own artist collective to, you know, support a lot of my friends. People have been asking me that for over a year now. When are you going to start your own thing? And it took me a long time, a lot of talking to people to figure out what it was they wanted and sort of figuring out what I could provide and gathering the resources and the help to do it, because I didn't want to half-ass it, you know. I didn't want to throw my reputation on the line and be like, join my thing, and then it goes nowhere, because these people are my friends, and this community is of the people who make the music I like. And I want to build on that. I want something that if it succeeds and I don't succeed, then I still succeed because it succeeded. You know, like if I can lift other people up above me, that's fine with me. But I didn't want to be the top of a pyramid. And I didn't want to half-ass like just throw my name out there and be like, NuclearSun's starting this thing, and everyone's like, who the fuck's NuclearSun? And I've got all these artists on a label who, you know, don't get any attention because, like, I'm the biggest name there. So we've been putting together a website and a roster and services for the artists and just trying to build a group of people who make this kind of, you know, mix electronics and metal and don't quite fit into any specific sort of category and want to branch out and help each other. Like a support group of artists, but that other people can come into and be like, oh, you like this band? Check out this band. That sort of thing.
Yeah, that's great. Spread the word.
Myself, Hal from Paralyze, Sarah from Amnestic, and Chris Jarvis from Absinthe of Faith, and our friend Bill, who is not a musician but has been extremely helpful. We've all been working on that for the past little over a month now. We're getting near to launch. That's been where all my energy has been going.
Wow, sounds like you're working on a lot of stuff.
I learned a while back that I operate best when I've got a lot to do, like just straddling the line between extremely stressed out and like collapsing, like just right at that edge. If I've got too little to do, I get depressed, and if I've got too much to do, I get overwhelmed. But I gotta push myself, just keep myself busy.
Yeah, definitely, especially with the times right now. It's good to stay busy.
Oh yeah.
Now, if people want to look you up online, find your music on social media, how do they do that? How do they get your music, NuclearSun?
How do they get NuclearSun? Well, I finally got NuclearSun.net. That's the easiest way. It's just a Bandcamp redirect right now. It'll take you to the Bandcamp, and the links to the social media are right there on the site. And hopefully soon, very soon, MachineMusicUnited.com will be up. We are currently finishing that up today, actually. They're working on it as we speak. And we're working on making that a great resource for people to find that kind of music and connect with those artists, especially with the way Facebook and stuff have been cracking down on us and people not seeing our posts. We really wanted to create somewhere people can go where they're not extorted to find, to reach their audience.
Exactly, yeah. The big social media platforms are really making it hard for the different artists to spread the word.
Yep. So, yeah, that's what we've been working on. MachineMusicUnited.com. We've got currently, I'm not sure if I should be announcing this, but I guess whatever. Amnestic, Absinthe of Faith, Effect, Carbon Martyr, Kisses Kill, Lights Out, God Help Me, Machines with Human Skin, NuclearSun, and Paralyze. And we've got more coming before our official launch, but I'm going to make that like the one-stop shop for angry electronic guitar music.
That's awesome. And when people look you up, is it important that they put the asterisk mark in between nuclear and sun?
It's a good question. If I had known how finicky search engines were when I started creating all these accounts, I would have left the asterisk out. I did it as a stylistic choice, and on some search engines it'll screw you over, and then some it won't. But I've found even on search engines where it doesn't matter, they'll throw up other results anyway. Like if I try to search NuclearSun on YouTube, and I am NuclearSun, so like my stuff should come up first because I look it up all the time just to make sure it uploaded right. I'll get this DJ Satomi. It's like a happy hardcore techno song from like the late 90s or something. Anytime you search NuclearSun. So, like on Spotify and Bandcamp and stuff, if it's like an artist, if it's a narrow search, like you're looking for an artist, it should come up right away, asterisk or not. But if it's a broad search like Google or YouTube, they're just always very certain you want to listen to DJ Satomi's song NuclearSun that came out 13 years ago. The guy wrote one song and it's just the top of the list every time. You might have to scroll down a little bit.
Cool. Well, it was good having you and talking with you, and everybody look him up.
Thanks. And thanks for having me.
Definitely. And for everyone watching, I've linked his music in the video description, so check that out.